Y'all want to hear some scary shit? This next story took place in San Antonio, Texas, again at the Martin Luther King Bridge. Y'all see that bus stop right there? Yeah, that one. So this story has 3 characters, Honey, T-Rail, and RJ. The names have been changed of a couple of the characters for privacy purposes. So Honey was sitting at this bus stop, and RJ's best friend, T-Rail, came by in a blue Buick. Now, Honey and T-Rail had some history. T-Rail was RJ's best friend. RJ is Honey's cousin. T-Rail and RJ were always into shit, and if anybody knows San Antonio in the early 90s, y'all will know it was a hot ass mess. I'm talking violent as hell. Anyways, T-Rail thought Honey was the most beautiful creature he had ever laid his eyes on, and he used to always ask her to marry him. Marry me, marry me, marry me. If you marry me, I will get out the streets. I will stay out of trouble. T-Rail got into shit so deep that RJ was begging Honey, please marry my best friend. Like, if he's a good dude, he just always in this stuff. Like, he'll, take care of home if you marry him. And Honey was like, hell no. I ain't gonna do it. So now that y'all got the background, Honey was sitting at this bus stop, and T-Rail came pulling up in a blue Buick. And he was laughing and smiling like normal, like, hey, I will give you a ride, come on. And she was like, no, I'm not getting in the car with you because you're always in shit. I'm not getting in the car with you. And T-Rail was like, man, come on, where you going? She was like, I'm just going down there, but I'm not getting in the car with you. I'll wait on the bus. And he was laughing so hard. And he was like, come on. And she was like, no, I'm not going with you any damn where. I will wait on the bus because I don't want to catch no strays in this car with you. So T-Rail takes off that way down the bridge, and Honey looks down at her Jet magazine and looks up because she was like, maybe I do want that ride. And he was gone. Now, that bridge is pretty long, and it was a few seconds in between. She was like, maybe he was just speeding. The next week, Honey was visiting her brother in prison in Three Rivers, Texas. And guess who was there? T-Rail's brother also. So Honey says, hey, I seen T-Rail last week. He was trying to give me a ride, down the street. I did not get in the car with him. T-Rail brother was like, you saw who? She said, I saw T-Rail. He was trying to get me to get in the car and take a ride, give me a ride to where I needed to go. And his brother was like, you couldn't have seen him. He got killed a year ago. Say what? So Honey is like, no. See, he just tried to pick me up in a blue Buick last week. I'm not tripping. I saw your brother. Like, he literally just tried to get me to get in a car. And T-Rail's brother is like, what? That is the car he was found unalived in. That's the car his life had been taken in. His brother then instructed her to go out to Meadow Lawn, which is a graveyard here in San Antonio, Texas, where his brother is buried. Honey says she just could not bring herself to do it to this day. Now, Honey then consults with someone who, she knows has gifts, and so we'll call her Aunt Cece. Aunt Cece goes on to tell her it's a good thing that you did not get in that car because he was coming to take you with him. Who is Honey? She's my mommy. So if you are ever on Martin Luther King Bridge and you see someone walking and they disappear in your rearview mirror, I promise you are not tripping because it happens a lot there. Daytime, in the wee hours of the night, I promise you, it happens. That park that is right there, just beyond them trees, has claimed a lot of souls due to violence. Now, that is some scary shit.
Tell me If someone ever asked me if there was a story that I would want all of my followers to listen to from beginning to the end, it would be this one. These are the type of stories that truly scare me so much. Just wait till the ending of this. So this guy says that when he was very, very young, he had a best friend named Raul. He said that it was a privilege to be Raul's best friend because unlike his home life, Raul's home life was really amazing. Raul had two parents who loved him so much and gave him attention. He even remembers how Raul didn't have to share his bedroom and had it all decorated with things that he loved. He lived in this really big house and had all the toys that just kids would dream of. He even had the newest and most modern video game setup, so of course when Raul asked him to stay the night, he was happy to. And just like he expected, he had the time of his life in that sleepover, and it wasn't just like the toys and having fun with Raul, but even Raul's parents treated him like he was a part of the family. He remembers eating sweets and they even ordered pizza, which was really rare in his own household. He remembers even little details like when they were gonna watch movies, they would let him choose the movie that the entire family was going to watch. He says that they would watch the movie and then they would go play video games, they would have snacks until they eventually would go to bed. However, not everything was perfect. There was just something about when nighttime came that was not good. He realized that something was not right the first night he spent the night in that house, and he was tossing and turning. He explains that what he started to hear was almost like if somebody was knocking on the bedroom window. He thought to himself that maybe it was a branch of a tree that was making that kind of sound, so he didn't even bother opening his eyes to look outside that window. However, a few moments later, he heard that tapping on the window again. He did pretend to be asleep while somebody was tapping on that window, but he admits that that really scared him, not knowing who was on the other side. He ended up falling asleep until it was morning time, and then he didn't tell anybody anything because he forgot, since he was dreading going back home in the morning. So a week passed and it was the weekend again, and Raul again asked him if he wanted to spend the night, and he was so excited that he said yes and completely forgot about the window incident. However, they had fun. They went to bed, he couldn't fall asleep, and somebody was tapping on that window again. However, this time, after knocking or tapping on that window and him pretending to be asleep, he heard something different after. What he heard was somebody attempting to open that window. And he says that they were being successful because he could hear that window opening. He literally stood up, looked at the window, and he saw when a hand pulled back and hid. He said that the hand was long with his fingers all weird, and that to him, it was like a demon hand or something. He woke up Raul, who also looked and saw that the window was open, and they ran to the parents' bedroom and woke them up. The parents were obviously very alarmed, went, and they didn't see anything. The window wasn't even open. The parents also explained to him that they had an alarm system. They walked him to the alarm system and even went as far as giving him the code because they wanted him to feel comfortable, and if anything was wrong or if he ever needed to come over and they weren't home, he could put in that alarm code and come inside. And of course, that did calm him down, and him and Raul went back to the bedroom and they went to bed. And of course, with time, he completely forgot about that incident and he continued to go over to Raul's house. However, he does admit that every time in the night, he would hear something. If it wasn't a tap on the window, it was something completely different. Unfortunately, he says that the sounds coming from the yard or from the window weren't even the worst of it. There was one night he really needed to go to the restroom. As he's going to the restroom, he could see the front yard of the house through this big window, and he swears that he sees a really tall, bald man just staring into the house. He said the man didn't have like any hair in his face, like it was no eyebrows, just his eyes, his lips, like he was very pale. So when he saw him the first time, it was on a Thursday. The following day, he sees him again, but this time he is a little bit closer to the house. By the time Saturday came, he was right next to the window of that house. He did say that he thought to himself, like, why am I seeing this ghost? I cannot bring it up. If I continue to bring this up to the family, they're gonna stop inviting me over and they're not gonna let me hang out with Raul anymore. However, there was one last occasion where he saw this bald man. He woke up because he was really thirsty and he was gonna go to the kitchen and get a glass of water. He remembers that his grandmother told him about this like myth where if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're really thirsty, it's because someone has been observing you. Kate didn't need to hear that within this story. I'm a thirsty ass bitch at 3 in the morning. Anywho, he gets up, he starts walking towards the kitchen. At this point, he knew this house almost like if it was his own. So he was just gonna go and get a glass of water and go back to bed. However, when he walked out of Raul's room and about to head towards the kitchen, something that was in the living room walking into the kitchen was surprised to see him. And unfortunately, he recognized what that was. The figure that he had been seen outside was now inside of the house. The bald man just stayed very still, and he said that he just walked backwards, went into Raul's room and closed that door. And obviously he didn't tell the family anything, but he knew that this was out of control and very much out of his hands. The things that he was seeing were just getting worse and worse. And unfortunately, he would refuse to spend the night at Raul's house after that. He said that in the beginning when Raul would invite him over and he would say no, that maybe he didn't give it that much importance, but eventually Raul would invite somebody else and he started having new friends, and him and Raul just weren't friends anymore. Time passes and he says that when they were 25 years old, he ended up bumping into Raul again. They were so happy to see each other that they ended up grabbing a coffee and just sat down and started talking. He tells Raul that all of his fond memories were at his house and that he was so grateful that they were friends even if it was for a short amount of time. And he also explained to Raul why he stopped coming over, because of that ghost that only he would see every night. That is when Raul told him something to calm him down, but it was the complete opposite. That definitely did not calm him down. Raul told him the following. Yeah, there was something there at that house. That they discovered it a year after he stopped coming over to Raul's house. It was definitely not a ghost, but it was terrifying. Raul said that even his parents were like, oh my gosh, the kid was right this entire time and we had no idea. A family member of Raul's father knew that house very well. This family member only lived several streets away from them. This family member had severe mental issues and was supposed to be watched and in his own house at all times because he was dangerous. However, he had found a way to escape that house every night without being caught. And every night that he would escape, he would head over to Raul's house. At first only standing outside the house and then eventually figuring out the alarm system's code and getting inside of that house. They even figured out that the way he got that code was when they had given it to him that one night that he was scared. They actually found him one night because the family was gonna go on vacation, but the dad forgot something at home. When the dad walked into the house, he found him inside and this family member attacked the dad. The family member ended up running out of that house, but eventually was caught by the police. He was taken but not to jail because again, he had very severe mental health issues. And after all this, they found out that every night that he would escape his house, he had attacked a lot of people, ending their lives. Raul also told him that after that, he was never able to sleep comfortably in his room knowing that the guy was so close. He had opened his window, he had done all of these things until this family member did end up passing away 4 years after that incident. Even after his passing, they were to find people that he had ended and they never knew. So yeah, this is how he found out that he was never seeing a ghost. He was seeing that family member with severe mental issues and he survived. This is why this scares me so much, because I feel like you should be more scared of the living than the dead. The way that this could happen to anyone is what scares me so much. But anyway, what do you guys think?
Story time about the thing that lives in my woods. When we moved here 8 years ago, we had like a teeny tiny front yard and it was just the house. Everything else was woods. We live on 6.5 acres, which is not a huge property, but it is completely surrounded by woods. Here's a picture of what our property looks like. A little while after we moved here, I told my husband, I just feel really dark. I feel really heavy. I've always been kind of in tune with the other side. I never really wanted to accept it or leaned into it or anything, but I just felt it. I told him, like, I need to see the sky. I need to see some sun. We need to do something. He went through, of course, and started clearing woods for me. We built a horse barn, had pastures, brought my horses in, and I'm out one morning early. It was like just before dawn. I'm in the feed room. I'm on my phone, not really paying attention. I hear somebody call my name, which if you saw the other picture, not possible. My husband was at work, kids were sleeping, nobody was around. But I answered because I wasn't really paying attention or thinking about that. It's dead silent. And I realized, like, wait a minute, like there's nobody around that would be calling me. What was that? That was the first time that really made me realize that I can't deny, like, there's something present, right? Then I started just kind of paying attention. Noticed that when I would be walking back from the barn, which I had always felt really heavy, like something was following me, watching me, whatever, when I was walking back from the barn, like something was behind me. Started noticing that all of my animals, I have 2 black barn cats and then my dog, right where I would really feel this presence, they were cutting between me and this area. They would be walking on my right side, this spot is on the left side, and they would like damn near run into me to cut over and be in between me and this space. And it's every time, like without fail, they will like run into my legs. This winter, I'm out feeding my pigs one night. It was starting to get dark. It was almost dusk, and I hear a goat crying in the woods. I knew all of my goats were up. I knew that there wasn't a goat in the woods, and it was like calling to me. I didn't pay it any mind. There is a big plantation. There's a big farm down the road that has people. It's like a state park now. We were there one day and I heard the same goat in the woods while we were walking to the beach. This is attached to the same woods that this property is. Another time, I was out watching my goats. They were in labor, and I heard my dog, who was in the house. My dog, I've had for 10 years, my best friend, I heard him in the woods. So much so I went in and I asked my husband, like, is Boomer outside? He's literally laying on the couch. Then this winter again, I'm out feeding my cows one morning, and our UPS man had just dropped off a package, and he was driving out, and I waved to him, and he stopped, and he's like, have you ever seen anything out here? I said, no, but I feel things. He said, the other night I'm dropping stuff off. It was like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. This is during Christmas, so they were doing like late runs. And he's like, I saw a woman, like an old-timey woman in like an apron and a bonnet, walking across your driveway. Like she was all white, I don't think she was real, but I just was wondering like if you have seen anything too. He's like, yeah, he's like, it feels a little eerie coming out here at night. I said, yeah, I agree. Not by the house, but in the woods. My dog did go missing for like 5 hours after he had his eyes removed. His name is Boomer. He doesn't have any eyes. I stupidly went out into the woods and I told it, I need my dog back. Like, you have to give me my dog back. And in 30 minutes, my dog was found. So do with that what you will. I don't know what's here. If you have any discourse or discussion in the comments, please be respectful of other cultures. I don't know what it is, but I know what it's not. We are in Virginia, so I'm sure it's not what you're thinking it is. Whatever it is mimics animals to try and lure my animal-loving self out into the woods. I don't know what this thing is. I am only talking about it because it's daytime. We'll not talk about this at night. I haven't even told many people. I've told my husband. Whatever it is, if you have any ideas of how to get rid of it, please let me know. Since we brought in the animals, everything has been a whole lot lighter, so I think that it has been pushed back away from the house. We have eagles and hawks that live here on the property, and I think that they help too. We also have owls, and they all nest here and hopefully keep us safe, or maybe they're doing us harm. I don't know, but that's my story time of whatever it is that lives in our woods, and if you have any ideas, please let me know. Bye!
Trigger warning, there's DV mentioned in the story time. Also, I'm going to speak very quickly because there's a lot of details and I don't want this to be a two-parter. Let's get into it. Now, I was in a 7-year relationship that ended very, very bad. I have a 13-part story time about that. It's bananas. Now, I'm healing from that situation. I'm like 2 or 3 years out from it, and I decide I want to start dating again. I get on Hinge. I meet this man who is from I think Kansas or Kentucky, black cowboy from the country. Think Taylor without the money, the locks, or the arch in his back. Now, we get to dating. I'm taking it slow. I just got out of a really crazy situation with a man that stalked me for a year after we broke up, and I just don't trust men. So we decide that we're going to take it slow. It's about a month and a half in. He invites me out to a party that his friend is throwing. I go to the party. I meet all of his friends. It was a really cute time. We're holding hands the entire time. He's taking care of me. It was real sweet. I decide I'm going to let him crack. Because at that point in time, I thought he deserved. I take him home with me. I'm lit. I'm litter than lit at this point. We get to getting it. 10 minutes in, I get mine, I roll over, fall asleep accidentally. I said, give me a minute because the room was spinning. That minute turned into REM sleep. Now, I start feeling this. I wake up, I turn over, it's him. All he says to me is, am I a fucking piece of meat? Whoa, it's a lot of aggression. It's a lot of aggression. I'm like confused because I'm asleep and it's a lot going on. Mans gets so mad that he takes all of his clothes, puts his shit back on, and leaves.
Whoa, I go to sleep. I have work in the morning. I wake up, go to work the next day. I'm at my desk. I'm starting to feel bad. I go ahead and I start texting him. And I'm like, yo, my bad. Because I understand what it could feel like to feel like you're being used, you know, especially in those circumstances. I'm not apologizing for not allowing you to coerce me because, like, fuck you. But I will apologize if it was read in the wrong way. He in turn apologizes to me as well. And he was like, my bad. I didn't mean to like snap on you. Honestly, it was the liquor, whatever, whatever. He's like, let's try it again. How about you come over to my place tonight? Because I'm always going to your spot and I'll cook us dinner. And then you can spend the night and we'll wake up in the morning and do something real cute. Cool. I go home after work so I can pack me an overnight bag. I'm talking to one of my roommates and she's like my bestie. So we're like chatting about it. And I tell her I'm starting to feel like kind of weird. She is fully informed of what I just came out of. So she's like, you know, you're probably just triggered about that situation. But she met the man before. She's like, he's a really nice guy. I don't think he's gonna do you dirty. Like, girl, just go, have a good time. So I'm like, all right, cool. I still feel weird about it though. I get in my car, I get to driving. He's like an hour and 10 minutes outside of LA. Fucking bananas, just far. But he said he liked it that way because it reminded him of home. He lived in a part of the valley where there was like horses and like cows and stuff. On my drive there, I'm talking to another one of my homegirls, right? And I'm giving her the 411. I'm telling her how I feel. She basically gave me the same advice that my bestie gave me, but she was like, if anything, I have your location and all you got to do is text me SOS or whatever, and I will blow your phone up until you answer, and I'll make up some shit that you got to leave right now. She was like, I'll pretend like I'm your family or whatever the case may be. So I was like, period, thank you so much. I love you. I love women. I got my heart. So, I get there. It is in the cut. It's in the middle of nowhere. I park. He lives in a back house behind this big ass like a ranch kind of house, right? And he meets me out front because I didn't just want to like walk on these people's property. When he walks up to me, y'all, I swear he smelled like a bottle of Cabernet. The man smelled like a Catholic church on Easter Sunday. He literally was, I don't know, it was like coming from his pores, just red wine. Drunk, stumbling. I was like, how in the fuck? It's 6 p.m. So I'm like, are you good? And he's like, yeah, my bad. I ended up drinking the bottle accidentally waiting on you to get here. I got here on time. I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. So he's like, there's a country store down the road. Let's just walk there real quick, get another bottle, and head back. I said, all right. As we're walking there, I realized I still got my big ass bag, my overnight bag, and my purse. You ain't asked to hold not one of them. Now I'm in a mood. We walking back from the store. He got the bottle of wine. I still got my 2 bags. I say something, and I know that I said it in with an attitude because what? So we're already starting off on a bad foot. We get inside his house. And I noticed the entire apartment smells like a vanilla candle and it don't smell like food. So I say, hey, I'm hungry. Where's the food? He goes, my bad, I ate already. The fuck are you talking about? Now I'm pissed. He goes, don't worry though, I got you. Pulls out a frozen pizza, pops it in the oven. Now I'm livid. Sorry, y'all, somebody called. I'm very upset because not only did you get a pizza, you got a meat lover's pizza. At this time, I was fully vegetarian. I can't even eat that shit. He said, I'll pick the pepperonis off. What? So I'm texting my homegirl the whole time, SOS. Like, girl, I can't do this. He looks at me and he's like, I can't believe you're texting. Like, I thought you were here for me and we're supposed to be hanging out and getting to know each other and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Maybe I'm still trying to rationalize. And I'm like, maybe it's me, I'm tripping. So I notice he has a guitar. I bring it up. He's like, yo, let me play you something. He goes to look for his guitar pick, can't find it, throws a tantrum like a 10-year-old whose PlayStation won't work. Just like, and I'm like, yo, you're actually out of your mind. He realizes that he probably left his pick in his car. So he said, I'm gonna go to the car real quick. I'll be right back. As soon as he leaves, I call my friend immediately. And I'm like, yo, this man is bugging. I explain the situation. She's like, get out of there. As soon as I'm about to tell her, like, yeah, I'm finna leave right now, he walks back in. I make up some excuse. I'm like, yes, I'll make sure to have that memo on your desk first thing Monday morning. Hang up the phone. Because I don't need you to know that I'm talking to my friend. I'm calling SOS. So he walks in, and even with him hearing that and him assuming that it's a work call, he still loses on me. He's like, he loses it on me. God damn, I can't speak. He loses it on me. So he's like, I can't believe you. You come all the way over here. It's supposed to be about us having a good time, and you over here texting on your phone. You calling people on your phone. You doing this, you doing that. What about me? What about me? And I said, you know what? Fuck you. I gotta go. I start packing my shit, and I'm like, yo, you're bugging. I don't feel safe. I don't feel comfortable. I gotta get the fuck up out of here. He goes, blocks the door, says you're not going anywhere. What? Jeepers creepers. Now I'm scared. The fuck are you on? So I'm like, yes, I am. And the inner New York in me starts bucking up because now I'm like, I gotta fight you. As soon as I'm like about to, he starts bawling, crying, y'all. I'm not even joking, no exaggeration. Bawling, crying, weeping. He goes, you're not gonna leave me. Everybody leaves me. I don't understand. Every bitch leaves me. Everybody leaves me. He just kept on repeating it. I'm shooketh, okay? Jaw on the ground, flabbergasted. I don't know what to do. At this point in time, it's a horror film. So I decide I'm gonna finesse because I know coming at that with more aggression is not gonna end well. So I'm like, no, it's not you, it's me. I'm about to start my period probably. I'm still hungover from last night. Like, I'm sorry. I should have came here with better energy. Like, let's just do this again tomorrow. I just wanna go home. I wanna sleep in my own bed. He buys it. He opens the door and he says he's gonna walk me to my car. Cool. As we're walking to the car, he's still crying. He stops me at one point, lifts my chin like this, and then looks me dead in my eye, takes my other hand, wipes his tear with it, kisses it, and then kisses me. Whoa, buddy. I'm not making it out of here. And I'm in the middle of nowhere, y'all. I start praying to God and I'm just like, yo, I can't die like this. This can't be it. This can't be it. We get to my car. And I put my shit in the back seat. I go to open up the front door so I could get into the car, and flips again, slams my door shut, says you're not fucking going nowhere. I immediately grab my phone, call my friend, and I say, you got my location. His name is, say his whole government name, and I say, call the fucking cops right now. And he's like, no, wait. And I say, get the fuck out of my way, or the police gonna be here right now. He gets out of my way. I get in the car, I block him on everything. Never speak to the man again. Months later, y'all, I get a DM from this girl because I had a podcast with my bestie at the time, and I waited a while to talk about the situation, but then I finally did. I get a DM from this girl, and the girl literally goes, hey, did you used to date so-and-so? If so, I really need to talk to you. My interest is piqued. I respond, and I'm like, I wouldn't say I dated him, but like, the man is bananas. Like, stay away from him. And she's like, I wish I knew ahead of time. She said he would talk about me all the time and told her that he used to date me and that I was the baddest bitch ever and that she don't compare to me and all this shit. And then she sends me 10 pictures, y'all. 10 images. They dated for 2 months. She says, I'm filing a case because look what he did to me, y'all. She was bruised up from her ankles to her forehead. The man, like, beat her down. Oh my God, y'all, trust your gut when you feel some shit. I literally apologized to her, and I know I didn't do anything, but I felt so bad. Y'all, some men are actually...
We're gonna call this one The Neighbor from Hell. I am back with another spooky story. So there was once this woman by the name of Mariah. She was happily married with 2 kids, a boy at the age of 7 and a girl at the age of 16. They lived a very happy and comfortable life until their new neighbor named Abby moved in. Abby was a single woman who seemed very kind, soon became very good friends with Mariah. They would often go to each other's houses for lunch and have chats. But one day, Abby baked some cupcakes for Mariah. Since this was normal at this point, Mariah was eager to try one of Abby's cupcakes. They sat, had their chats per usual. However, after a couple of minutes after eating these cupcakes, Mariah started to feel very sick. Mariah starts feeling dizzy and eventually she collapsed. And it turns out, just like that, Mariah passes away. Abby calls the ambulance, then calls Mariah's husband. She tells Mariah's husband that she got to Mariah's house and found Mariah already passed out. And there was no sort of suspicion from the husband, as he knew that Mariah and Abby were great friends. So some time goes by and Mariah's funeral is long past. Abby began to check on Mariah's husband frequently. And sooner and later, they became a couple. It had only been a few months since Mariah's death, and she had really seemed to care about the husband and kids. Mariah's son was very welcoming of Abby. However, the daughter was not. He felt as if Abby was trying to replace her mother, and she was not there for that. She wasn't having it. Mind you, at that point, Abby started coming to the house a lot. She still had her home next door, but she would come over often to cook for the husband and kids. One day, Abby cooked a meal for dinner for the husband and the kids, and after one bite of the food, the husband was shocked. He instantly recognized that that was his late wife's secret recipe. And Abby just told him that his wife did share the recipe with her once while she was alive. Nobody thought too much about it and just ate the food. Now, during the dinner, the daughter was having an attitude the whole time. It got to a point where she stormed out of the table and went to her room. But before she went, she didn't leave without a bang, as she had some very nasty and disrespectful things to say to Abby. Dinner ended and Abby went back home as usual. The next day, the daughter felt a bit apologetic about some of the things that she said. She decided that after school, she's just gonna go to Abby's and apologize. After school, she got to Abby's house and knocks on the door and no one answers. She knocks a few times, nobody's answering. So she decides to let herself in. So she walks in, she calls out for Abby, no one's answering. She walks towards the kitchen, and when she got to the kitchen, she saw her mother, Mariah. She could not believe her eyes. Her mom was standing there in the kitchen like a zombie. As she called out to her mom did not answer. Mind you, she was wearing the same clothes from the day that she died. And the scary part, was that she had a nail, the kind of nail used for wooden appliances, hammered into her forehead, and somehow she was still alive. So the daughter runs home, and since her dad was home, she called him and told him what she saw. But the dad, of course, does not believe her, so she's like, okay, come with me and I'll just show you. So he followed her to Abby's house, and they went inside, and he saw the exact same thing. He saw his wife, and he was in disbelief. He tried calling her and shaking her, but she was in a zombie-like state. He took his daughter and hurried home and told her, get in the car with your brother. They left, and he took the kids to the grandparents' house, which was only about 10 to 15 minutes away. He came back home, went to Abby's house, and blew a whistle. So basically, most communities in South Africa encourage households to have whistles so that they can blow if there's trouble, so that the community can hear it and they can come. So he blew the whistle as loud as he could, and people in the community heard it and came running, thinking that somebody's getting robbed, something horrible is happening. As the members of the community came, they saw Mariah. They were surprised. And in the midst of all the commotion, Abby came running in because she too heard the whistle. She came running thinking that maybe somebody broke into her property. And pretty much that was how she was caught by the community. Wow. That was yet another submission from South Africa, if you didn't guess already. You guys win the spooky stories, because them shits be like movies. Anyway, if you're not already, make sure you follow me on Instagram, just so that I know that it's real. I'm trying to get to 10K. Please. And make sure you follow me on YouTube for longer, better, and spookier stories. A lot of y'all were bullying me for story times. I was fucking sick. Anyway, I love you, my abducted humans, from your favorite Haitian homegirl.